What is up, Only Playbook fans? We are back for another episode 64. I jumped the gun last week because I got a little bit horny. TMI about it was being the first preseason week, but it was only the Hall of Fame game, so we only got one game and nobody really played. But this is the official first week of the NFL. Preseason week 1 is going to be getting underway. So a lot to unpack here. We're super excited. I'm Sweetcar. I got the usual suspects. Show it. What's going on, guys?
Not much. Can't wait. Preseason week 1, man. This is so exciting.
It's only 3 preseason weeks. So week 1 of preseason is actually kind of important. You know, like people are going to play. So I'm excited about that. What about you?
I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't seen a preseason game in like 5 years. but yeah, we'll try this year. And I feel like
there's only 3.
Yeah.
And Mike Zimmer used to be undefeated in preseason. So we didn't have to watch because we just expected them to win.
That's
but
true.
Times have changed. We actually care about the regular season now, Mike. So sorry about you. A lot to unfold here. Thank you so much for all the support so far. If you're listening to us on one of the podcast platforms. You're watching on YouTube. We're on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Follow us, talk to us, whatever you want to do. Interact with us, blow us up, DM us, anything. So without further ado, let's jump right into it with water cooler talk. Shovit, your boy Dionte Johnson gets an extension, 2 years, $36.71 million. First receiver, I think, that the Steelers have paid outside, or last one was Antonio Brown, if I'm not mistaken. So I know the Steelers have a history of, letting your receiver play out his rookie contract, does really, really well. And then it's like, oh, you know what? We can find somebody else. So they seem to.
I hope it was a direct deposit, because if it was a check handed to him, he might have dropped it. So.
Oh, shit. That was a good
done.
one.
That was good.
A good one. A lot of money for a guy whose hands are still deemed questionable after, I don't know how many years he's been in the league now. 5, 6, 3?
Yeah, he's
There's
not
no way
good.
3. He wasn't a rookie and then got a 2-year extension.
Dionte Johnson, I believe it's 3 years.
What?
I've had him for 3 years myself, and I feel like I didn't have him for 1 year, unless I had him for all 3 years.
You might be right. But if you got a 2-year extension, I'm just confused about how the contract played out. Yeah, maybe 3 years. 4th year and then a 5th year option if he was drafted in the first round.
This is his 4th year. So he's been in, he got drafted in 2019.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
2-year extension for Dionte. Exciting stuff for him, maybe exciting stuff for Steelers fans, but without really knowing who's going to throw him the football, I don't really know what to make of that. I'm sure you're excited, Shovit. Would you have rather them not pay him and just kind of move on, or?
Yeah, no, he deserved to get paid. He had an outstanding season last year with Ben Roethlisberger. But more than that, I think Tomlin just loves his character. He's a good guy, and he's going to help. George Pickens, who is flashy, but, receivers can have a hot head. And a guy like Dionte Johnson, who's cool, calm, collected, also has the stats and is a good receiver, can kind of humble him a little bit.
We should get a team with just a bunch of good guys, the nicest guys at every position, and see who the starting lineup would be.
The team name can be Mr. Nice Guy, Jackie Chan's face as the logo.
Very underrated movie. I bring that movie up all the time, and a lot of people don't know.
What a shame.
A lot of people just did not experience old school Jackie Chan, and I think that was just like a lost time for most people. And if you didn't live through that, then yeah, I feel bad for you. But yeah, Dionte Johnson, good for him. He's a good receiver. I hope he, in the past, he could get away with dropping passes because he was playing around a lot of talent and he had a really good quarterback who could be like, you know what, whatever, I can throw it to somebody else. Now he's going to have to be the guy that his quarterback relies on because his quarterback is uncertain, right? Mitch Trubisky, whatever, Pickett, whatever, Rudolph, hopefully not. So either way, it's not going to be the best of situations for him to catch passes for, but that's where he's going to have to step up. And like you said, if his coach likes him, he's probably going to be thrown into like this leadership type role as kind of being the veteran receiver now with Washington gone, Juju gone, etc. So it'll be interesting to see if he can kind of assume that role. Bears linebacker Roquon Smith is requesting a trade. And why wouldn't you? The team has literally shown no reason to want to compete this year. It looks like they're just tanking a second year. Their roster's pretty bad top to bottom. I'm sure he wants to get paid and wants to actually play for a competitor. So he wants out. I don't know if you guys had a chance to read his letter, but he wrote it in like a really nice way. It wasn't like demanding a trade. He was like, at this stage, I think the best situation for me is to request a trade. So, when you're kind of a big shot in football or any sports, you don't have to request anything. In the NBA, everybody just fucking demands trades and makes it happen. So shout out to Roquon Smith. I think a really good team is going to love having him if he does in fact get traded.
He's a top 3 player in IDP leagues, and now this trade is going to impact that drastically. He's probably no longer going to be a top 3 player.
Yeah, depending on where he goes schematically, whatever, Bears, are on the field a lot on defense. So probably also equated to why he was getting so many tackles and rising high in the IDP leagues. But I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. Another headline that just never ceases to amaze me, and it's almost like these NFL GMs and coaches just like to, look to the side. But already out of Commanders camp, Carson Wentz is having accuracy issues, and the Commanders are not concerned about his accuracy issues. So another year in the offseason for Carson Wentz, more sailed passes and more bad passes, and more of his team just kind of, turning a blind eye and actually basically what they're doing is they're in denial, right? They know that they got a pretty bad quarterback. It's sad, but he is actually an upgrade from the quarterback they had, but he's still not good enough to do anything really remotely successful, in my opinion. So it's almost like you're already stuck in the situation. So you almost have to turn a blind eye and assume that nothing's wrong. But it's not surprising that he has shown accuracy issues in training camp. I mean, this seems to be a revolving theme. You guys surprised?
Nothing to add there.
Fair enough. Moving on to the GOAT. Justin Tucker gets a 4-year, $24 million extension. The best kicker of all time, probably. Much deserved. He signed on through 2027 for the Ravens. 4 more probably spectacular years in regular football and fantasy football as he just continues to be the number 1 kicker. So that's the only guy that I think, maybe the 14th round, if you're pretty happy with your draft picks, maybe even the 13th round, if you're really, really happy with your team already, that there's not a lot of rotation that's going to be involved barring any injuries. You go out and you get the number 1 kicker because he can actually impact winning and losing in fantasy football. I know most recently I've listened to a lot of podcasts, and it seems like a lot of people have shifted to no kicker, no defense leagues. So it's literally like quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 receivers, tight end, and then you get 1 or 2 flex spots. And some people claim it's a lot more exciting because you get more flashy players, etc. But I think there is an art to drafting kickers and defenses or streaming defenses and kickers. So I know both of you guys probably agree with that. Shishot is the king of streaming defenses and kickers. So I just think you're taking a shortcut when you're like, let's just get all the, the skill positions and act like we're in 8th grade.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, think about it, right? Like when you're watching football and a team hits a game-winning field goal, you know how amazing that feels. Well, that's the same feeling you get with when you have your kicker kicking that, right? So
and he makes a 50-yarder and you get 5 points.
Yeah, I'm not trading that.
50-yard rush or a 50-yard catch.
Exactly.
45.
Grow up.
Catch. Yeah.
Grow up, fans.
Yeah, don't tell us we're not playing exciting league football, man. I heard that so much recently, and I think it's because recently Underdog Fantasy, I don't know if you guys have heard of it, is like kind of taking fantasy football by storm, and it's just basically paid fantasy football, but it's only like 1 entry, and it's sponsoring pretty much any and every football podcast that I listen to now. So I think that might be why, and that's their format. But dude, I still love the kicker position. I still love the defense position. Dude, the feeling of getting a pick 6 and you just got 8 points at your disposal. I mean, those are huge jumps. Again, that's equivalent to an 80-yard run or an 80-yard catch. Like those are big chunk things that happen from the skill positions of kicker and defense. So whatever.
I mean, and it adds a complexity to the game, right? That week that you're streaming defenses where you have to pick either the Giants defense versus Washington versus the Eagles defense versus the Lions, like that could win you or lose you that week
100%.
with positive points or sometimes even negative points. You could lose that game, so it adds a complexity that you definitely need outside of just the skilled players.
Yeah, the strategy of like when you're up heading into Monday night and you only have your defense left and you bench your defense, there's nothing like that with that, right? I mean, and I still think some people will get greedy and start their defense just based on ego or the fact that, it's points forward. I need to score the most points and stuff. So that strategy is involved. Whereas when you don't play in that league, like it doesn't really matter. So yeah, it's cool. It's cool having like 6 receivers and 4 running backs and just getting like 500 points, but
grow up.
That's not real fantasy football, bro. So
yeah, we're purists here.
Yeah, exactly. Good for you, Justin Tucker. Good for you. Injuries, the one thing I absolutely hate talking about. Jets tackle Mechi Beckton has fractured his kneecap. Unfortunately, looks like he might be out for season. He was the Jets' right tackle. I think he was left tackle. They moved him to right. Either way, he's probably their best offensive lineman. So super unfortunate for Zach Wilson and an offense and a team as a whole that's looking to progress. But as far as I've read, their offensive line position has more depth than normal. So I don't know how big of a loss it is, but nonetheless, when you lose one of your tackles early on before the season even starts, it's really unfortunate. Fractured kneecap, Shishot, that can't be good.
Yeah, it's called an avulsion fracture, which means the piece broke off. It's like it's away from that piece. It's
so
not
your
just a
kneecap
crack.
is just gone. Like if you look at your knee, it's just flat.
A part of your kneecap has broken off and gone somewhere else that it's not supposed to be. Like probably got pulled by the ligament or tendon or something. But yeah, that's not a good sign. He's not going to be playing anytime soon.
Yeah, I think they fear that he may be out for season, additional tests, whatever, but he's not going to be back anytime soon. Unfortunate for the Jets. Ravens rookie center Tyler Linderbaum is dealing with a foot injury, which they thought was Liz Frank, but I guess it's not. It's just a fractured foot of some kind, but no real timetable there. Browns kick returner and receiver Jakeem Grant tore his Achilles. He's probably out for season. A team that needs pretty much scoring and things to happen any which way. That's not good for the Cleveland Browns. And then one last one I have is Darren Waller. Darren Waller has been a question mark this entire offseason. I know he was dealing with injuries last year. When he came back, he didn't look the same. So I think the offseason, he's really tried to either stay healthy and not really do much football activity or what, but it still says undisclosed. So even the Raiders as a team, as an organization, either they're not, I mean, it's not that they don't know, they have to know. So it's got to be the fact that they're just not disclosing it to the public or whatever, for whatever reason. So he hasn't been participating in any training camps. I know he can be a pretty big fantasy football player. So I don't know if I'm concerned just yet, but it's definitely something to keep an eye on. That's all I have for injuries. Did you guys have anything else?
Nope.
All right, let's jump into the rundown. Finally, we get a slate of games here. 2 games on Thursday to kick us off. First game on the board, I have the Giants versus the Patriots. I tried to read as much as I can on teams and kind of what their thought process was going into the preseason, because again, it's only 3 games versus 4. Every year previously, we know that the 4th game, basically no starter plays, right? So it's basically just an opportunity to solidify your backups and who you're going to have in like a practice squad. But because there's only 3 games, basically a lot of what I've read is starters are going to play the first game and probably the 3rd game. So maybe middle game is where they rest. And I know every team is different, so this can be handled differently. But as far as the Giants, Brian Dable did come out and say all guys will play. So as far as what I'm watching for in this Giants-Patriots game, I want to see the playmakers on the Giants side. We know last year they had so many injuries. Again, a revolving door. Saquon was still not really himself. And the wide receiver room, Mr. $70 million man who caught 0 touchdown passes, Kenny Golladay, Kadarius Toney, who was like electrifying when he was on the field, but was only on the field for like 3 games. So they have a lot of weapons and playmakers who have potential, but we want to see some consistency. I'm interested to see like who is going to be kind of the guy in that offense. So it'll be interesting to see who steps up. I know it's preseason, but again, this is 3 weeks and this is their first real run of like scrimmage and real-time football. So I'm interested to see who's going to step up for the Giants. And I think as far as the Patriots side goes, it's very similar. The Patriots are more so lacking in the playmaking department. So who is going to be the guy? N'Keal Harry got traded away, right? So he's gone. They still have Jacoby Myers, whatever. He's kind of a nice piece, but they did get Devontae Parker. Is Devontae Parker going to be the guy? Is he going to finally be the guy? Or is he going to be the guy for 3 weeks and then get injured? So I'm interested to see who's going to step up for Mac Jones. He's taking another year. Hopefully he makes another leap, but he can't do that without any weapons. So that's kind of what I'm watching for in that game. Shachot, talk to me about the Titans and Ravens.
Yeah, there's a few things to look into here. Titans secondary is trash. There's a guy named Caleb Farley, who was a 2021 first-round pick. He's fighting to take the 2nd cornerback spot on that team opposite Christian Fulton, who was a 77 overall in Madden. So, I mean, they're just I
love the Madden ratings.
They're just fighting to find players there. And he's competing with Roger McCreary, who's a 2nd-round pick from 2022 this year. So they're fighting for a spot this year against Christian Fulton, opposite Christian Fulton. So we'll see between McCreary and Farley who wins. Also look at Logan Woodside versus Malik Willis. We always want to know what this Malik Willis thing is about and look for some timing issues if there are any. Look for his decision-making and look for how he commands the huddle. Those are the things you want to look out for Malik Willis. And then Treylon Burks. He's had asthma issues. He's had issues with conditioning. So let's see if he can handle some real-time game action.
I'm excited for Malik Willis. I think that's going to be one of my biggest games that I watch because he's going to be a guy that sees a lot of field and a lot of gameplay. So a guy that, most mock drafts before the draft had maybe like just based on, whatever his physical specimen and attributes were like the top quarterback or first round pick, dropped to the 4th round, kind of fell in the Titans' lap. So I'm excited to watch that for sure.
Yeah. So talking about Malik Willis, there's another quarterback where we get to see a rookie quarterback that we'll get to see with the Falcons versus Lions, Desmond Ridder, who was basically, someone that the Steelers may have gotten along with Malik Willis, but they went with Kenny Pickett. So I'm interested to see how he's going to perform. I know Marcus Mariota is going to get probably the starting job there, but it'll be fun to see Desmond Ridder in action. And then for the Lions side, rookie Aiden Hutchinson's first game. I don't know if you guys got a chance of him singing
Billie Jean?
Billie Jean, which I thought he did a great job. And, the whole team was rallying up to him. He's got okay vocals, but, just the fact that the camaraderie was there with the Lions, it was fun to watch. The Lions as a team, Falcons as a team, they both were terrible last year. So seeing how they will improve this year, I know it's just preseason game, but their starters will be out. So it's going to be good to kind of get a glimpse of their schemes for the upcoming season.
The Hard Knocks stuff is pretty exciting with the Lions. I saw a Brady Breeze cameo while they were watching film. And also, there's a lot of crying going on in Detroit. I don't know what's in the air there. Maybe Flint Waters doing something. But yeah, more crying in Detroit.
I think it's basically one of those leadership things, right? Like a trickle-down effect. When your leader, Dan Campbell, is going to cry in front of everybody, it just opens the floodgates. It basically tells the entire locker room, hey, if you want to cry, you cry. Safe space. And Jamal Williams is a great personality, right? I mean, he gives some of the best interviews and he gives some of the, he has great quotes. He's hilarious. So I actually thought that was incredible because he was so passionate. He was like, every time he said something about remember our record from last year or whatever, right? And it's like, that's not who we are and all this shit. So dude, they're on Hard Knocks. Dan Campbell's crying. Jamal Williams is crying. Everybody's crying. This is like one of those makings of a story that, if Detroit somehow makes the wild card or wins like 9 games or something like that, like just watch out. Cause this is probably a team that a lot of NFC North opponents and a lot of NFC opponents that have them on their schedule are like, this is a W, but I don't know, man. I wouldn't be so sure about that.
Get the Kleenex box ready. Because if they make the wild card, I think everybody's crying.
Yeah, exactly. I think they're going to turn into America's team. Sorry, Dallas Cowboys. I still don't know why you have that nickname, but I could see the Lions being America's team this year. So a team that a lot of people are going to get behind. And again, like last thing on Aiden Hutchinson showed it, it's not every day that a rookie commands an entire 53 or I guess right now it's training camp. So it's more than 53 people, but like 80, 90 player roster, it doesn't matter what he's doing, right? I mean, I know it's an entertaining aspect and he's singing and dancing, but whatever. He's commanding that locker room. He's commanding that entire team. And so to be a rookie and to do that and to have that maturity, again, I think this team is a little bit different, man. I think this is not the Lions of old. I think they've officially turned that page. So I'm interested to watch.
Well, I think it was rookie hazing personally, but he did a good job of going up there and giving it his all, which he did. He gave it his all.
As a number 1 overall pick in the draft, he probably doesn't deserve any hazing. I bet he's probably already better than most of their defensive players. So whatever. I mean, he took it like a champ and he did it. So good for him. Go Lions. Rooting for you, Dan. I got to watch Hard Knocks, by the way. I think the first episode's already out, maybe. I don't know. I need to watch that though. Moving right along, Browns and Jaguars coming up here to play. I had a huge, I was super excited about the Jags because they said Trevor Lawrence was going to play, Travis Etienne's going to play. And so I was like jumping for joy. And then a report earlier today came out from the Browns side. Deshaun Watson is going to be starting this game. And at that point, I just kind of didn't really know what to say because I was like, here I was excited about the Jags side, Trevor Lawrence, Etienne. We've been all riding that hype. I kind of had put Watson in the rear view. I thought, there's really no way he was going to see any field. But he's playing. And I honestly don't really know what to make of that because he could play, he could be spectacular. And then at any point he can get suspended. He could play, he could suck, he could get booed off the field. Like, I don't know what kind of reaction he's going to draw. Like this is in really, really big kind of controversial situation that's transpired. So I really don't know what to make of it. Do you guys have any thoughts?
Why is he playing? What is the point of this?
Honestly, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how all of the legal stuff works. Is it just one of those things that it continues to prolong and until they actually reach some sort of verdict or some sort of conclusion, he's just going to get to play? Because that's kind of what it seems like is happening for Alvin Kamara on the Saints is they keep pushing this court date. It went from like being suspended 6 games to like, they don't know, the court date could be pushed to next year and he could literally play all of this year. So I don't really know what kind of how that situation operates or how that situation unfolds, but I'm just fearful of like, if they're playing, and I think they might be playing in Cleveland, like what are the Browns fans, how are they going to react to Watson? Like, I'm just really, really curious to see, are they going to be receptive to him? Is it going to be just like raining down boos? Like, I don't know what's going to happen.
I think they're going to be receptive to him. I mean, they're coming from Baker Mayfield to Deshaun Watson and all that stuff, that's allegations, nothing was proven in the court of law, and the NFL is acting like a governing body. So, I mean, like, why not let him go out there? He hasn't played in over a year, so he's got to get some practice and some reps. reps. So I think the Browns would be hella happy to see Deshaun Watson out there.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't played in a year. You could be
tease.
right. He's also probably not mentally all there, so he could literally come out and shit the bed. So I don't know. I think this could go any which way. It's an intriguing storyline, so obviously I'll be tuned in. Shishot, talk to us. Cards, Bengals.
All right. So I suspect the Cards to win this game. I know we're not talking about wins and losses, but they're just a much more fast-paced team, and the Bengals are such a bruising team that I can't expect the Bengals to win this game at all. I just don't see it. But anyways, I'm watching Chris Evans this game because he's supposed to be RB2 to Josh Mixon, or what's his name? Joe Mixon. And he's a dual threat, triple threat guy. He returns kicks too. So this is a guy you need to watch because he's supposed to take over and P. Ryan's role. P. Ryan's not supposed to be playing very much, so it's a must watch. This is like an Alexander Madison type of situation right now. And Bengals left guard Jackson Carman. He's a 2021 second round pick. The O-line coach is saying he's much improved from last year, but the fans on Twitter are definitely not happy with what they're seeing and what's happening right now. So let's see what happens, because there might still be a weakness on this offensive line, but it might be in the guard position and thankfully not the tackle position.
Nice. So the next game on board is the Jets versus the Eagles. So for the Jets side, I'm going to be watching Breece Hall. And his and how he performs. I mean, this guy's from Ohio State Buckeyes, had led the team in touchdowns and record breaker. So his current ADP is at 44, which is the 20th running back off the board. I saw that fantasy data had them as having the 5th easiest schedule in as far as all the teams in the NFL go. So if Breece Hall gets the number 1 starting duties, I mean, that guy could be a steal in the mid-round drafts. And so that's on the Jets side. On the Eagles side, I'm going to look at Carson Strong and see how he performs. Jalen Hurts is their quarterback, but this is kind of like an interesting year for Jalen Hurts. This is his 3rd year. I'm interested to see if Carson Strong has the abilities to maybe just go out there and show some composure and not throw picks and just be able to go out there and just throw the ball around. And if that's the case, then Jalen Hurts may be in a situation that he could lose the starting position job if the Eagles don't do well this year. So I'm going to look at Carson Strong and the rookie quarterback there.
Yeah, Carson Strong's an intriguing one. Like you said, he always played. What I noticed when he played in college was he always played very loosely. Granted, he was playing for Nevada, and it's a conference, and you're not really playing a lot of really, really highly anticipated games. So he was very loose. He slings the ball. He has kind of, doesn't really care attitude, so he's just kind of going out there and playing football. And he has an arm, he has an absolute arm. Deep throw accuracy, deep throw power is incredible. So like you said, it's kind of that tilting season for Jalen Hurts. Is he going to take the next step in his 3rd year to really actually be a starting quarterback in this league? Or is he going to continue to be the guy that, can run the ball when he needs to, can make the passes, when needed, but he just doesn't have the timing. He doesn't have throwing over the middle, all the other stuff that you really need to be a multiple year successful quarterback in the NFL. So that's an interesting one. Breece Hall, correction, Chauvette, not Ohio State, Iowa State is where he went. But nonetheless, he is one of the most intriguing rookie running backs we have in the league this year, outside of him and Kenneth Walker probably. So it's always nice when you have rookie players who were good in college who are going to get a lot of run in preseason, because that at least makes the game exciting to watch when the starters aren't playing. Moving right along, 49ers Packers rematch of last year's NFC Championship game, I believe, where the 49ers upset the Packers. Obviously, it's going to be no Rodgers here, so it's going to be the Jordan Love show. But Jordan Love on one side, I'm more interested to see Trey Lance. Finally, we get to see Trey Lance as the guy, knowing he's the guy, knowing there's nobody kind of breathing down his neck in case he struggles. So this is officially his team and his offense. So I'm interested to see how much he can, incorporate what Jimmy G's taught him, if he's actually capable of running this type of offense. As in college, he wasn't really running a highly complex offense. So I know Shanahan likes to do a good job of making things really easy for his quarterback. I'm assuming that's kind of what he's doing for Trey Lance, but you still have to be able to get on the field and execute. So let's see if it's going to be Trey Lance glass half full, where, he's going to, all those broken plays are going to lead to more fantasy points for the guys that we're going to be drafting, or is it going to be glass half empty? He's going to just continue to scramble out of the pocket a little too early and make mistakes and not actually find the players that he needs to find down the field. So this Trey Lance season is kind of one of those where, if you take a flyer on him and he ends up panning out into what he's capable of being, he's probably a league winner. He's probably a league winner if you draft him, because his values, he's not going to get drafted super high, and he's going to be the classic, like, can rush for yards for you, get you rushing touchdowns, and then also he's breaking onto the scene. But he's also a guy that, quickly can become a free agent in all fantasy football leagues because there's really not much production that he's providing. Chiefs, Bears, Shishok.
So Chiefs, Bears, what is there to look at? The whole Bears team. You have to look everywhere because they lost 30 veterans over the last offseason. That is insane. That's a lot of people gone. You're playing with a lot of rookies, but mainly watch Khalil Herbert because he seems to be taking the number 2 role easily, and he might creep up into the number 1 role. So just keep an eye on him. I feel like they're going to use him a lot because they really like him. On the other end, look at Sky Moore's usage. I feel like we've seen a lot of highlights over training camp, and now it's time to see it being used. How are they going to actually use him? And then there's also 2 other wide receivers, Justin Ross and Matthew Sexton, trying to get a job on that team. They're both undrafted, but the staff loves them, and let's see what they can do to make the team.
Nice. Next up, Panthers versus Commanders. So Ron Rivera's old team, he gets to play them in preseason, which doesn't mean anything, but should be a pretty interesting game to see. We'll get to see Carson Wentz in accuracy live, which means that Sam Howell could get some more reps, and who knows? Maybe he's there. I know Tyler Heineke's number 2, but he could bump up and take Carson Wentz starting job. So next, and on the other side, so on the Panthers side, we've got the showdown of the quarterbacks with Baker Mayfield and forget his name, Sam Darnold. Yeah, Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold.
Very forgettable name. Very forgettable.
And right. And so they also got Matt Corral, which on the 3rd round from Ole Miss. So that's going to be interesting to see how all 3 of those quarterbacks, because I think that it could be anyone could take that job. It doesn't have to just be Baker Mayfield versus Sam Darnold. Matt Corral can come in and be the quarterback there starting the rookie year.
Side note, betting wise, anytime you have a team that has 3 quarterbacks and your 3rd string quarterback is a rookie, and you have 2 quarterbacks that at least have starting experience, I probably, bet good money that the Panthers may have a good chance of winning that game, because if you're looking at 3 quarterbacks that arguably could be starting quarterbacks this year, and I guess maybe even on the other side, this is actually a really good quarterback matchup because you have Wentz, Heineke, and Sam Howell, and then you have Baker, Darnold, and Corral. So this is a great quarterback game to watch if you're really curious about how these college quarterbacks did and how they're going to transition into the NFL and who's actually going to win that job. So that's a good game. I'm gonna put that game in my rear view in terms of looking for a plausible bet to take there, because at least relevant players are going to be playing the entire 60 minutes. Moving on, we got the Colts traveling to Buffalo to take on the Bills. My only thing that I'm watching for here is James Cook. What is James Cook's role going to be in this Bills offense? Is he going to be the guy? Is he going to be the spellback to Devin Singletary? Is he going to be the 3rd guy behind Singletary and Moss? Cook is obviously talented enough to take on that complete back role. I don't know if he has the durability like Dalvin does to be an every down back, but I think he has higher upside than Singletary. If Singletary had the upside that, he was supposed to have coming out of college, I don't think Zach Moss would have taken so many of his carries the last couple of years. Matt Breida coming in and taking his carries. So I think they already knew what they had. That's why they drafted James Cook. I think he can be a difference maker. So I'm excited to see kind of what he showcases here in early preseason. That's what I'll be watching for there.
All right. Next up, we have Seahawks versus Steelers. A lot of quarterback watching. We just talked about watching quarterbacks. Here's more quarterbacks for you. Geno Smith, is he going to take the job? I mean, most likely. That's what it's looking like right now. There's no love for Locke. All the focus on Geno Smith, and even during interviews, Geno Smith is saying, I can't say too much. Usually when they say stuff like that, it's good news on their part.
He already knows he's starting.
Most likely. There's a really good chance. Trubisky, on the other hand, has been pulling ahead for the Steelers. However, he's not doing too well in practice. This is, we looked at some stats over the last week, and the best player so far is Rudolph as far as what he's doing for statistics wise. However, all the first team reps are going to Trubisky, so that's usually a sign Trubisky's going to get the start. Another thing we got to watch for, Anthony Miller for the Steelers. He's just that connection with Trubisky still there. Apparently he's just stealing hearts during training camp, and he's making big plays happen. That's just one thing we know the Steelers can really do. Steelers wide receivers, they can just make really big plays happen. And, we'll see what the resurgence of Anthony Miller looks like, because it's possible.
He was always a sneaky good receiver, I feel like.
He was. He was always very good.
I'm the first one to tell you, I did not even know he was on the Steelers. So that's a kind of really nice depth piece, kind of replacing maybe Washington, right? Washington's along there. So that's a sneaky guy to watch out for. But again, another great game of a lot of quarterbacks. I think quarterback watching, it's like whale watching, but quarterback watching is kind of what I'm going to be doing this weekend.
Next up, we have the Miami Dolphins versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They've already kind of practiced this week. They had a joint session of practice, and there was a lot of good things from the Dolphins side. Not so good things from the Buccaneers side. Apparently, Tom Brady had some issues with the Dolphins blitz game, and the Dolphins will be focusing on defense this year.
You think Brady's going to act like he's successful in practice? It's all a fucking chess game to him, bro. He's going to be like, oh my God, their defense is amazing. So then they deploy that same defense in regular season, and then he just fucking destroys them. Yeah,
well, it's AFC, NFC. I don't know if he cares that much. I don't think he's thinking that the Dolphins are going to make it to the Super Bowl. But
old division, man. Old habit.
I have the Dolphins. I have the Dolphins and Chargers in the AFC Championship game. So there's, in my opinion, there's a really good chance.
Bold takes, Cotton.
Wow. Man, that's a lot of money you can win if you get both of that right. So on the Buccaneers side, be on the lookout for Cade Otton, the tight end there. Kyle Rudolph is the number one tight end, but this guy could have a good year if he gets a start, and we'll see what he's about in this preseason game. Lastly, I've got Kyle Trask, who is the Bucs backup quarterback. So Tom Brady, Father Time is creeping up really close. So what's going to happen to the Buccaneers quarterback situation once he's gone? Had a little bit of a scare in the beginning of the offseason, but it'll be interesting to see if he has stepped up in year two.
Saints at the Texans this week. Andy Dalton is the backup quarterback for the Saints, but you know what every team Andy Dalton goes to, what he tries to do, he tries to win that starting job because he continues to show you that he can do just enough. You can do just enough, and every once in a while when the guy in front of him is a little too reckless or maybe not delivering, you're always going to have that thought, oh, I still have Andy Dalton. Maybe I can deploy him and he can do just enough. So he's kind of that classic guy that can go from team to team and have a shot at winning the job. We know how erratic Jameis Winston can be. He's actually dealing with an injury still. So there's still an opportunity. And I think Andy Dalton was playing chess as well, where he's trying to pick teams where he has a good chance to do just enough to confuse the coaches and be like, hey, maybe we should give this guy a shot. So I would not be surprised if at some point this year, Andy Dalton starts a game or two, whether it's injury, whether it's Winston throwing 5 picks the game before. I don't really know, but I'm watching Andy Dalton. And then who's starting running back for the Texans? Marlon Mack is number one on their depth chart. We all know about Rex Burkhead and his 25 carries for 40 yards last year. And then and then we have the new guy. And the new guy's name is the name that I am blanking on right now. Let me pull it up real quick.
There's some really good news in training camp that he may start off the bat. Dameon Pierce. A lot of long breakaway runs. A lot of good things showing from him.
Yeah, running back from Florida, played with Kyle Trask. So 4th round pick this year. He has a chance. I mean, again, it's not a sexy running back room, right? So it's an opportunity to win. Fourth string is Ogbowale, so he's been around the block, so he's also probably got a chance there. But a lot of uncertainty on the running back room, and as fantasy football players who, running backs are, as needed as a position can get, even if it's the Houston Texans running back, a starter is a starter. So who's going to be the starter there? That's going to be what I'm watching for.
All right. Cowboys versus Broncos. The Cowboys are actually practicing with the Broncos on Thursday, and they're playing against them on Saturday. However, Mike McCarthy has said that he's benching all starters against the Broncos. So we're not going to get much from the Cowboys end. That's a very sneaky move. He's saying, how valuable is one drive versus all this practice we're going to do? He's kind of right, but there's no need to compare, right? So, but what I really want to watch is Nathaniel Hackett. Let's see what, I just want to see what he's going to do with these wide receivers. I want to see which role which wide receiver is going to play. And I think we're going to get a little glimpse of that. Are the drag routes going to be mainly Judy? What are we going to do with Sutton? I want to see these type of moves. What are the moves with the wide receivers so I can get a head start into my fantasy football season. And the other thing I'm going to look at is Dorrance Armstrong, the other guy opposite of the guy replacing Randy Gregory. Randy Gregory now plays for the Broncos. So it's going to be interesting. I want to see the guy opposite of DeMarcus Lawrence and, if he's going to be a valuable option for the Cowboys or not.
Yeah, I think. Sorry, last thing. I know Judy and Cortland Sutton, their ADPs are very, very close to each other, like very, very similar. So, it's one of those where you're right. When you're drafting, without like if you're drafting today, there's no way to know who's going to be the guy, right? So you're literally probably flipping a coin, or you're going based off of some preconceived notion or bias that you have in your head, or what Russell Wilson, if you're going to do the DK is the Sutton, to the Judy is the Lockett. Like, how are you going to try to understand who to draft, because their ADPs are like they're right next to each other. So whether it's going to be 1-2 plays in preseason that help make you decide that determining factor, or again, you're just going to draft based on preconceived notions. One's going to be, it could be a one is a hit, one is a miss. So those are two guys to watch for.
And don't forget about KJ Hamler. That he had the strongest connection. He had the strongest connection with Hamler over all those other guys. So just
why do you think that is? Because Russell Wilson loves to throw fucking bombs, and KJ Hamler runs like a 4.27. So those perfect pocket passes to Tyler Lockett could just as easily be KJ Hamler.
Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy just reminds me of Cooper Kupp and Woods last year. They were, I think, had very similar ADP. In our league, Cooper Kupp was drafted right before Woods, and that guy.
What a difference that was!
Yeah, that was a huge difference. You won the league that year, so it kind of reminds me of that same sort of thing there.
So you're basically predicting that if you draft one of those guys, you're going to win the league, right? If you draft the right guy, you're winning your league.
You could. I mean, with Russell Wilson at the quarterback position, Jerry Jeudy, Russell Wilson, and Jerry Jeudy connection could be a thing that wins you the league, or Cortland Sutton. I can't tell you one way or the other. Next up, the battle of the LAs. So the LA Rams versus the LA Chargers. I think that most of the starters are not going to be playing this game. So I am looking at DeAndre Carter. And I like to go on Twitter and see the training camp tweets that people put out there, and they're saying that DeAndre Carter, quote, is toying with defenders all throughout training camp. So does this mean that the Chargers, that this guy is the real deal, or the Chargers pass defense just is ass and he's just toying with them because of that? So it's going to be interesting to see. I'll be on the lookout for that. And then Isaiah Spiller was drafted by the Chargers in the 4th round. So shout out to Sarit. He went to A&M, and he's big on this guy. And so I'm looking at to see, if he is the real deal or not for the Chargers. They've got plenty of good running backs there, but it's going to be interesting to see A&M alum seeing what he can do.
Yeah, DeAndre Carter, age 29, 5th year in the league, never really been that great. So if he's toying with defenders, he's probably toying with second or third stringers, or he just juiced up and took PEDs and just taking a big leap, because I don't know if at age 29 you're really going to break out into the scene as a receiver, but, prove us wrong.
Yeah, this is a clear case of just preseason bullshit, because when they have those defensive ends that they have, once they get on the field, any shitty secondary will be elite level secondary. So
yeah. Apparently he's had 6 touchdowns this whole preseason. So
that's impressive.
Yeah.
Preseason stats don't go back on the back of any football.
Not even preseason.
So who the
training camp stats.
Training camp stats. The only thing, the only place that goes is on podcasts where people speculate, like here. So that's the only place that ever gets talked about.
And in Madden 2003, where you run those drills.
Yeah, exactly. God, those are some of the best times, man. Bring those drills back.
Yeah, we talked about Madden ratings. I think Madden ratings may be better than PFF ratings. That should be a better indicator.
Yeah, dude. As you were talking about Matt, when you brought up the Madden thing at like 77 earlier, I was like, you know what? We need to somehow like use Madden ratings to quantify a lot of our stats. And if there is a correlation, then shit, Madden ratings could be a better quantifiable stat and a better measure of metric than PFF. Who the fuck knows?
Yeah.
Has anybody ever sat there and tried to do that?
Yeah.
This year has been asked though. Like, just none of it makes sense to me. This year's Madden ratings are very off.
Kirk Cousins,
Preconceived notions.
Like, come on, bro.
Yeah, that's a little fucked up. But what are we gonna do?
Speaking of Kirk Cousins, the Vikings and the Raiders are going to be the final game on the block here. Raiders playing their second game, Hall of Fame game, where, nobody plays. So I don't know how that makes Josh Jacobs feel when he played a lot. What does that mean? What does the team think of Josh Jacobs when no starters usually play? And here you have your number one running back playing, catching passes, running the ball.
You know what this is?
Bait and hook. They're fucking hooking him.
Yeah, as a trade bait right there. It's a trade bait.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. Kenyon Drake's there. They have that. They have fucking what's his name? The guy that's name that starts with a Z. I'm drawing a blank. He's supposed to be really freaking good too. What is his name? Zamir White. Zamir White is his name. He's actually number 2 on the depth chart. Came out of Georgia, 4th round pick, rookie. So another guy that can be coming for Josh Jacobs, because we know that there's been deficiencies in that running game. So I'm interested to see. Not that. I don't know why I talked a lot about that. I'm interested to see on the Vikings side, Kevin O'Connell, what is this new offense about? Give me glimpses of what, the big change from having the exact same roster last year to having the exact same roster this year is going to look like, right? I want to see offensively, schematically, some of the plays we run. Yeah, obviously you don't need to show all your cards in the first preseason game, but I'd like to see something that's like, oh, wow, that's different from Mike Zimmer's offense or Mike Zimmer's, time in Minnesota. So I want to see one thing. If I can come out of this game with one thing, like, holy shit, the Vikings never used to do that, and now they're doing that. That's going to leave me happy in my first preseason game for the Vikings. That's it. That's it for the rundown. Any final words on any of the games? I'm going to take that as a no from Show. So let's jump over to Moneymakers, guys. Last week, what did I say? I said the Raiders Hall of Fame game, the over 30. And what happened? 38 total points were scored. 1-0 so far on the year. I know it's on our side text. Maybe I texted you guys saying I really like the Raiders money line, and that's the bet I actually took versus taking the over, and the Raiders ended up winning. So in my head, 2-0, whatever, no big deal. But this week, what I like is shove it. You talked about the Battle of LA, Rams, Chargers. Preseason games are hard to cap or bet on because really there's no way to know. One theme that I'm seeing is Vegas expects preseason games to be a lot lower scoring, which probably typically is true because Vegas is the smartest. They make the lines and they're usually the most accurate. But last week, I thought the line was a little too low for the over. This week, Rams, Chargers over under sitting at 30 points. 30 points for the Rams Chargers. And here's why I like both. I like that over. Chargers have backup players that can create flash. Chargers offense is a high flying, throwing machine. I know it's usually Herbert, but you have a backup in Chase Daniel. Chase Daniel is probably the highest paid backup of all time. He is more than capable of running an offense. And they still have guys, Isaiah Spiller, 4th round pick, who's going to get a lot of play. And he could arguably be a starter. So again, I'm thinking about guys who are playing against second string defenses who are basically first string players, right? So Isaiah Spiller, who could arguably be a first string player. Chase Daniels, a more than capable backup. And then you have the receivers for the Chargers like Guyton and Parham. Those guys played a lot with Justin Herbert on that first team offense. So they know what this offense is about. I think points can be scored here. And then the one other thing is both of these defenses were bad in the sense that outside of their big name talent, the Chargers were atrocious. I know they went out and signed who did they get? Khalil Mack? Was Khalil Mack on the Chargers? They signed a cornerback or safety.
Yeah, Khalil Mack,
and then Khalil Mack and one other player. I'm totally drawing a blank, but basically where I'm getting at is what did we talk about the Rams defense last year outside of like Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald, and Von Miller? It was a bunch of like randos that just kind of filled in the blanks, right? Because you had superstars at these positions. Without J.C. Jackson, Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, they have Derwin James, Asante Samuel. That's a really, really good defense. But if a lot of these guys aren't going to play, we're looking at a defense, again, that's superstar heavy and the rest of the defense is kind of trash. So second string, I assume it's just going to be equally as trash, which means I think there's going to be points to be had. 30 points, very low for two teams that when their first string offense is there, they're like a very, very points happy, throwing the ball type offenses. So 30 points over under. I'm going to take the over. Let's see if we can go 2-0 in preseason football. That is my best bet. That's the money maker for the week. That's all I have. You guys got anything else about preseason week 1?
I think we covered it all.
Perfect. Well, again, it's going to be quarterback watching this week. I'm excited to see which one of these rookie quarterbacks shows the most promise, makes the most noise. I know there's going to be overreactions after preseason week 1, so I can't wait to talk about all the overreactions with you guys, because what else would a podcast be without speculation and overreaction? Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We're the Only Playbook. We will see you guys next week.